housemate mo? Ayong congressman? Parang papailan ko ng kaso. Total, hindi ko na kailangan yung affidavit mo.
Hello mga kaibigan, dito na naman tayo. Meron na naman tayong vlog. Ito mga kaibigan, yung dugtong dun nito kay Police Colonel Grijaldo, no? Mayroon kasi nagtanong doon sa kanya, kaya kinuha din natin. Ngayon, pakinggan natin to yung mga aligasyon nila, no? At naging na rin dito si Duterte, no? Parang tinutulak niya na rin si Grijaldo na magsampa ng kaso, no? Yun guys, rin natin to. Bago pa naman kayo umalis, paki-subscribe naman guys, mga kaibigan. Paki-like and share para i-click ang notification bell para updated ka sa aking mga video na i-upload. And guys, let's go.
What happened in the room with Kong Dan Fernandez and Kong Abante and the tall lawyers of Police Colonel Garma. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Now the president is getting tired. So kung meron tayong questions for the address to the former president, tanungin na lang natin. Sir, okay ka lang, sir? Sir, I'm good until 4 o'clock. Yeah, I know. 5 na, sir. 5 na. Totoo, sir. 4 a.m. 4 a.m. He's referring to 4 a.m. Hindi ako nagpapatawa. Yes. I know that, Mr. President.
Mr. Chairman,
okay, so,
just to clarify, and I hope I didn't miss anything. When Colonel Grijaldo made mention about him being asked to lie and being asked to be influenced by a legislator, he is by himself, Mr. President. There's no one in the room who can
witness.
actually...
Sino daw naka-witness ng exchange na yun?
Anyone, sir?
At present the time, the two lawyers of Colonel Garma, they were on the right side of at the back that time, Your Honor, because it was discussed in the table on this place and it was shown to them also. It can be seen by the two lawyers because we are only 5 in the room, Your Honor.
And seen and heard
Yes, Your Honor.
the words that you uttered a while ago.
Just because one of the lawyer reacted when I refused to confirm the statement, because the holdings of this paper, Your Honor, like this, it was on the second page, and I've seen some notes or names, and my name was indicated in that statement. So when I rejected, or I don't want to say rejected, parang nag-explain na na hindi ko kayang i-confirm yung statement na yun.
And what was the
Sabi niya,
reaction again? The reaction of the lawyers?
Hindi na rin sila umimik, Your Honor. Kasi yun lang naman gusto nila na mag-collaborate to sa statement na pinabit ni Colonel Garma.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Chair.
so can we now entertain questions directed to the former president? Ano, sir? You're right. Wait a minute.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
President raising his hand. Yes, sir.
Thank you for giving me the time. I'd like to ask the Colonel, sino yung idiot na superior mo?
What is the question, sir? That who is the superior of...
Yes, the one who... Alam mo ano ang ginawa nung ulol na yon? Subornation of perjury. That is a crime. Tingnan mo sa revised penal code. Subornation.
Sige po, I think you already stated it, Colonel Grijaldo. Nasagot na po niya, Mr. President, nasa testimony na po niya. Sige po, can we now proceed who has questions for the former president?
Mr. Chair,
Oh,
I'd like to make it clear na yung ginawa ng idioto na opisyal mo o classmate mo,
Sir, it's not officer, congressman ang nagsabi sa kanya. Ganun, congressman.
yung idioto na congressman, subornation o perjury yan. He was suggesting, the mere suggestion of what he wants you to do is already a crime. Under the revised penal code, yung inuudyok mo yung tao na mag-execute ng affidavit falsely or making a false narrative, sovereign of perjury.
yes, that's a crime under the
Yes.
revised penal code.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Sige sir, because okay, we are operating under time constraints. So sabi ko kanina hanggang 3 o'clock lang tayo. But sige, but
Quick,
can we,
gusto ko lang habulin yung narrative here is under oath. Hindi ko na kailangan yung affidavit mo. All I have to do is to take out your statement, the basis of filing a case of sobornation.
our transcript of records will be available to anyone who will request, Mr. President. Okay, Committee Secretary. Transcript natin available to everyone. Okay, so anybody?
Your Honor.
Senator Risa? Can we...
Your Honor,
what is it about, ma'am?
about subordination of perjury.
We all know about the theory
I
about
just wanted to
subordination.
say na ganun din po ang ginawa nila. Subordination of perjury.
Sige po. Thank you. Thank you.
Ayan guys, dudugtong ko lang naman dito yung ang sagot nila ni ni Congressman Dan at saka ni Congressman Abante, no? Yung konti lang naman to natin para malaman natin kung anong sagot nila doon sa statement ni Grijaldo doon sa Senado, itong sagot ni Abante at saka ni Kong Dan Fernandez. Ito guys, panarin natin.
Former President Digo Duterte himself took responsibility for the shortcoming of his administration's shortcoming that led to the death of thousands of women. In speaking directly about the extrajudicial killings perpetrated during the war on drugs, President Duterte admitted under that he takes full legal responsibility for the actions of his subordinates who were acting under his. In other words, former president has acknowledged his role in the thousands of deaths that took his watch. He also echoed the Lanlaban narrative that was persistently used by police officers to justify deaths during supposed police operations. This admission is significant as it highlights that cases are now ripe for filing against those responsible for the extrajudicial killings during the drug war. Duterte has committed to take responsibility and face the consequences of this act mandated by our laws. It is now up to the proper authorities to consider this statement carefully and ascertain the criminal liability of the responsible individuals, whether under the concept of command responsibility or conspiracy. These cases could include crimes against humanity, as penalized under Republic Act No. 9851, the Philippine Act on Crimes Against International Humanitarian Law, genocide, and other crimes against humanity. That's the title, the Republic Act. and other criminal laws, not to mention the potential jurisdiction of the ICC. Section 10 of RA 9851 establishes the principle of command responsibility, which holds superiors liable for crimes committed by their subordinates if they had knowledge of the crimes and failed to take necessary actions to prevent or repress them. The killings order under former President Duterte's so-called war on drugs meet all the elements of willful killing, the crime against humanity, under Section 6 of RA 98. Facts are clear. Haba ito, First, willful killings affected thousands of civilians, with the International Criminal Court estimating between 12,000 and 30,000 deaths between July 2016 and March 29. Second, the victims were primarily civilians, suspected by police authorities to be involved in drugs. Third, these killings occurred in a widespread, systematic attack across various cities, municipalities, provinces throughout the Philippines. Fourth, these killings were executed under a state or organizational policy, namely anti-drug campaign of former President Duterte, which included a national system of rewards. This hierarchy. Duterte's admission in the Senate hearing, made spontaneously and as an admission against interest, is binding upon him. This must be recognized as evidence all present and future cases relating to the war on drugs. What we witnessed during the former president's testimony was a shocking normalization of brutality, a normalization of death, and a disregard for due process that has infected our legal institutions. Duterte's nonchalant attitude towards life itself lies at the root of the thousands of deaths during his term. His casual language, his swearing in formal proceedings, mirrors the erosion of his standards in his administration, where the value of life itself was cast aside. Nakakalungkot na hindi nare-realize ni PRRD ang consequences ng mga sinasabi niya. Carelessly worded statements posted on Facebook by a normal citizen are called rants. Carelessly worded statements spoken by a president are called policy. And his coarse language, his casual swearing even in formal settings, which we saw again and again yesterday in the Senate, mirrors this erosion of his standards. What we witnessed during his time in office was not just a disregard for societal norms and the standards of the office he once held. It was a disregard for human life. It was a dismissal of the processes and safeguards designed to protect the life and liberty of our kababayan. Kita ninyo, naging katanggap-tanggap ang pagmumura, ang pagpatay, naging katanggap-tanggap, pinapalakpakan siya. Are these the values we want to pass on to our children? The recent Senate hearing also laid bare another troubling truth. It is nearly impossible to hold a fair and objective inquiry when those who should be testifying are instead influencing the very proceedings. When resource persons are faced with figures like Senator Bato de la Rosa, there is no level playing field. The environment is one of intimidation, designed to silence or steer the narrative. Any witness who dares to speak out is at risk of being bullied or dismissed. Oo, may right si Senator Bato and even Senator Go to defend themselves. That is their right. A right denied to the thousands who could not defend themselves. Senator Bato, kung talagang sila ay matatapang, kung naniniwala kayo na wala kayong kasalanan, then show some real delicadeza and appear to our hearings where your statements can be challenged and cross-examined. Mga kababayan, yesterday we also saw how the former president was given a platform to rewrite history, to gaslight the nation by justifying acts that led to the thousands of deaths. This was not a hearing in the service of truth. It was a forum for denial, for him to rationalize the indefensible. Psalms 9 to 10 reminds us, and I quote, "The Lord also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee, for thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee." End of quote. The voices of the oppressed cry out for justice. And we stand here knowing that the Lord is on the side of those who seek righteousness and truth. We will not be swayed by these tactics, nor will we be deterred from seeking accountability. We are committed to ensuring that the victims of the war on drugs receive justice. The former president may attempt to dodge responsibility, but we will work tirelessly to hold him accountable for the lives lost, the families shattered, and the trust broken under his administration. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Chairman Abante Fernandez. Of today's first question, we'd like to recognize Ms. Moras.
Hi, good morning po, Chair Abante, Chair Fernandez. Sir, I understand may mga statement na rin po tayo kahapon denying the statements of Grijaldo. Pero just to be clear, para mas maipaliwanag lang po sa ating mga kababayan. So, may nangyari nga po bang private meeting about dun sa statement nga with Grijaldo? And ano po kaya yung reason, kung meron man, na bakit siya kailangang ipatawag in private, si Grijaldo po?
Dahil mahaba yung sinabi po ako na Chairman Abante. Unang-una talagang there was a incident na talagang pinatawag namin siya. Pero not on our own volition. Because it was Colonel Garma, as what I'm saying sa mga interview sa akin, that asked na kausapin si Colonel Grijaldo. Kasi si Colonel Grijaldo, according to Colonel Garma, is a friend of her. So, sabi namin, tama-tama, doon si Colonel Grijaldo, so tawagin na natin. So it was at the back of the Quadcom. So nang kinausap namin siya, sabi ko nga kay Chairman Abante, kausapin natin kasi nga kaibigan daw, siya makakapag-confirm ng mga affidavit na ginawa niya doon sa supplemental. So what we did was, yung lawyer, sinabi namin na pumunta para in the spirit of transparency kasi mahirap naman na kami lang. Kasi we always see to it na dapat talagang merong kasama. As a matter of fact, yun din ang sinabi ko sa media that prior to the Quadcom hearing, nagkausap kami ni Colonel Garma. And I asked the permission of the chairman to be with me. And he accompanied me para at least transparent talaga yung usapan. Unfortunately, yung sinasabi niyang coercion and harassment, it never happened. Talagang wala namang coercion na nangyari. And ako, natatandaan ko kasi merong isang tao na nandun sa loob pa eh. Aside from the two witnesses na at the two lawyers ni Garma, si chairman, saka ako, and then somebody, kilala ko sa mukha, hindi ko lang matandaan kung sino na staff yon. So, we were discussing yung I think it was number 17 na sinabi ko ito na sabi ni Garma, mako-confirm mo daw yung sa reward system. Naku, wala po kaming alam dyan. Wala po akong alam dyan. So, pinoid ko pa iba yung 1999. Tama yung sinasabi niya. Pero yung kinuers namin siya at hinaras namin siya. Kasi ang coercion talagang gagamitan mo ng threat eh. Gagamitan mo siya ng force eh. Kung ginamitan natin siya ng force during that time, di ba? There was still a lot of time for him to react eh. Unfortunately, hindi niya yung ginawa. At the same time, we cannot do that. Alam mo, it's so unethical for the two of us not telling, yung sa mga chairman, like si Ace, si Chairman Acop, saka si Congressman Paduano, about do sa isyong yon. Kung pipilitin namin siyang magsalita. And it will be against sa ating procedure na to vet first yung mga magsasalita para at least sigurado tayo. So yun yung tunay na nangyari. But of course, meron din ako sinasabi na issue na yung reason kung bakit niya ginawa yon. Well, yun yung aking analysis dun sa pangyayari. Bakit nila ginagawa to against us? Well, unang-una, demolition yun. Pangalawa, it's an attack against me and, against you. And most likely, they really wanted to discredit the whole of the Quadcom. And it's quite unfair, no, to all of the members of the Quadcom, especially the chairman. You know, what happened nang invite namin with our own volition na to talk to Colonel Grijaldo because it was asked by Colonel Garma. And sa amin, yun ang nakita kong naging repercussion ng ginawa namin. But of course, in every betting that we are doing, we always see to it that there are people around.
Opo, sorry, follow up lang sir dun sa sinabi nyo yung nakikita nyo itong ay demolition. Ano rin po yung masasabi nyo na paulit-ulit sinabi ni former President Duterte na subornation of perjury at sabi nga niya maghahain pa siya ng kaso against about this against you po sir. Ano pong masasabi niyo ron at bakit po ba nung meeting wala ring abogado mismo kasi ang nasabi niyo po ang may abogado si Garma, ba't po walang abogado si Grijaldo?
Kasi betting process pa lamang yun eh. Alam mo sa Kongreso, inakausap muna namin and then kapag nalaman namin na pwede natin i-validate yung mga sinasabi niya, then the lawyers will come out. So, that time, wala namang lawyer na dala si Grijaldo during that time Ang may lawyer doon is si Garma. And that's the reason why we asked na kung pwede yung dalawang lawyer pumunta doon para at least transparent yung usapan. Now, kung nagsabi siya na, yes sir, kinokontrol ko po yan, alam ko po yung reward system. And then, bring your lawyer. Yun ang namin, yun ang sistema ng procedure namin sa betting Kasi otherwise, kung una pala may co-coerce na namin siya. Alam namin, babalikan kami niyan. We're not like that. And you have to remember that we have a lot of evidences already. As a matter of fact, yung ating pong sinasabi natin na corroborative, no? Na-corroborate na Actually, hindi naman kay Colonel Garma nagsimula yan Doon sa dalawang PDL na kinorroborate ni Jimmy Portalesa, kinorroborate ni Warden Padilla. Saka lamang dumating si Colonel Garma, saka lang dumating si Commissioner Leonardo. So now, sinasabi ni Garma na ito, meron pang isang kaibigan ako na magko-corroborate doon sa mga sinabi ko. Well, actually, kahit wala siya, hindi nga siya pinag-uusapan namin, kaya nagulat ako nang nandun lang siya, nagsasalita siya against us. Well, script nila yun Bahala sila doon. Well, panindigan niya kung ano magiging repercussion sa kanya dahil nga, we will not take that sitting down. Of course, yung kanyang affidavit na kinores, hinaras, and under oath siya, mabigat yun. And we will do something. And this will be collective. I mean, not me, not him, but the whole of the Quadcom. Because the integrity of the Quadcom is at stake here. And we have done nothing wrong.
Sir, sorry yung sa statement lang po ni former President Duterte about subornation of perjury. Ano pong masasabi niyo doon na he even said na magfa-file siya ng case about this?
Well, ako, carry on. We will take action on that. Kung magpa-file sila sa amin, then yun ang mga repercussion of the things that we are doing for the Quadcom and for the Filipino people. And if this is the way that we need to act on certain things that happen, then we will confront the issue.
Next questions from Ina Pangaliban Perez of GMA7.
Sir, clarification lang. Sinabi niyo script nila yon. Kanino po?
Kung nag-affidavit siya doon, tapos well, actually, sa totoo lang, kaya ako nasabing script yan. Alam niyo kung bakit? Kasi nga, during the time of our investigation, yung kay Colonel Andulan, yung sa issue nung namatay si Cesar Perez, na kung saan si Colonel Andulan, siya ang humuli kay Councilor Norbin Tamisin ng Los Baños, Laguna. And I am very particular of that issue. And then suddenly, yung CCTV lumabas. Nakita natin na wala naman si Norbin Tamisin doon. And sniper yung tumira kay Mayor Cesar Perez. Si Colonel Andulan from Batangas, siya ang humuli kay Norbin Tamisin. So, when I was asking the Colonel Andulan about ano yung relationship mo kay Gerald Bato, sinabi niya na na-assign siya doon sa PNPA. At sa PNPA, during that time, yung anak ni Gerald Bato was in school, first year as plebo. So, yun ang sinabi ko, yun ang relasyon mo. And then suddenly, yung issue. Binanata na niya ako, and ako, nag-simmer down ako noon. Hindi naman ako masyado sumagot. Sabi ko kasi, hindi naman ako, kasi siya nga yung nag-mention ng babysitter, nagbe-babysit daw yung anak ko, ganun-ganon. Pero yung anak niya, hindi niya hayaan mag-babysit. And of course, ako, nasaktan ako doon. Kaya sabi ko, wala akong minimension na nagbe-babysit yung anak mo. I don't want to demean the position of the men in uniform. But sa kanya mismo, sabi ko, wag sanang ganon. Tapos hindi na ako masyadong sumagot doon. Sabi ko, pag nagkausap kami ni Gerald Bato, magkakausap kami ng maayos. But unfortunately, ito yung lumabas. Diba? Si Grijaldo lumabas doon, may affidavit. Hindi naman siya yung pinag-uusapan natin dito sa Quadcom. Then suddenly, siya yung naging vocal person doon sa kanila. So, I think there is a correlation about this.
Sir, clarification po ulit. Are you saying it's a script of Colonel Grijaldo and Senator Bato?
Yes, parang yun ang kanilang narration sa mga pangyayari dito. At dinala nila sa Senado si Grijaldo. Sabi nga na isang press sa akin kanina, sino ba yung Grijaldo? Sabi ko, yan yung kaibigan ni Garma na isinama niya dun sa meeting namin na kung saan nabago na yung narration ni Colonel Garma na dumating si Colonel Grijaldo. And that, I think we have to investigate why si Colonel Grijaldo na dumating sa meeting namin with Chairman Ace Barbers, hindi na niya na-reveal yung katotohanan. And then, yun na nga, doon na nag-boils down yun, imbisikahan na namin si Chairman Garma, si GM Garma.
Opo. Sir, sabi po ninyo, the Quadcom will not take this sitting down. May legal action po ba kayong binabalak? And kung meron po, sino po yung kakasuhan nyo and ano pong kaso?
So we haven't talked about it yet, no? But ako, sa akin, kami ni Chair, actually ngayon lang kami nakita ni Chairman Abante. But of course, parang hindi naman tama kung we will take this sitting down, no? We need to ferret out the deeper reason why this happened, that somebody will take his oath doon sa Senado and telling lies against the Quadcom. Hindi naman ako lamang ang tinira dito, but the whole of the committee. And it is incumbent upon the leadership of the Quadcom and the House as well to take action on this. Because I think he is under preventive suspension. If I'm not mistaken, because involved siya dun sa pagkamatay ni Barayuga, he is under preventive suspension. Kung he is under preventive suspension, somehow you can relate that he's doing this because yun na nga, trying to get even with us. So sana wag sa ganun. Wag sa ganun pamamaraan. We are all well, I believe that we are in the democratic way of our government, and okay lang yan. Basta harapin na lang namin yan kung ano mangyayari. And we will talk about it.
Opo. Sir, babasahin ko lang po yung patanong ng office, although this was already mentioned kanina by Kong Abante. Ano ang mga gagawin sa mga pinagsasabi ni former President Duterte? Ano ang pwedeng ikaso? Makakatulong ba ito sa ICC? And I will add my own question. Kasi, di ba, dati nag-turn over kayo sa OSG ng documents for civil proceedings. May gagawin din po ba kayong ganong action in relation naman po sa criminal cases na connected po doon sa testimony ni President Duterte sa Senate?
Well, nabanggit ko na, binanggit ko yung Republic Act number 9551, no? Na entitled noon, the Philippine Act on Crimes Against International Humanitarian Law, Genocide, and other crimes against humanity. Hindi kami ang magdidemanda I mean, sa amin po, sa Quadcom, sinabi namin po ulit-ulit we just want justice to be done. Bilang chairman ng Committee on Human Rights, we just want justice to be done. Now, naniniwala naman kami sa war on drugs Pinapaniwalaan namin yan eh. Ayaw namin ng drug sa Pilipinas eh. Ayaw natin manatili ang mga drug laws sa Pilipinas. Pero, was it necessary to kill more than 20,000 people para lang ma-stop yung drugs sa ating bansa? No. Meron siyang tinabi na collateral damage. Collateral damage ba yung napatay na 3-year-old? Napatay na 9-year-old? Collateral damage ba si Kian Alejandro? O sinasabi nila, ilan ba ang napatay ng mga drug lords? Ilan ba? O, sa data na kinuha namin sa Philippine National Police, wala pang 100 eh. Ilan ang napatay ng mga drug pushers? Drug pushers na mga talagang mahihirap. More than 7,000. Ilan ba ang napatay ng mga drug users na dapat hindi patayin? Dapat rehabilitate. 440 people. Ngayon, yung ba collateral damage ba yun? Yung ba yung sinasabi ni Senator Bato na shit happens? Yung ba shit happens lang ba yun? May pambihira naman buhay ito. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng shit? Baka hindi niya alam ibig sabihin ng shit sa American expression. Mura yun eh. Di ba? Shit happens? Ganun lang ba yun? See that? So, ibig sabihin, kung walang accountable dito, ano mangyayari? Di ba? Nais lang namin ang katotohanan mailabas dito. Oo, para makapagpagawa kami ng mga batas na hindi na maaaring mangyari pa ang extrajudicial killings. Nag-file na nga kami ng unang-unang bill tungkol dyan na making extrajudicial killings a heinous crime. Yun na yung aming pinail eh. Oo. Kaya bahala na po yung mga agencies po natin na mag-imbestiga. Dahil kami po, in aid of legislation yan. Sinabi ko na rin po, in aid of prosecution. Bakit po? We're not the one prosecuting. But we are telling the prosecutors, we are telling DOJ, yan na. Naimbestiga na kami. Alam niyo na kung sino may kasalanan. Kayo na ang bahala mag-prosecute. Napagkat kami, ito lang ang maaari namin gawin.
Pero maganda din doon sa briefly lang ang maganda sa nagiging investigation natin, na-expedite po natin yung pagpapile ng mga cases ng ating pong executive department. Like for example, itong sa preservation assets na we recommended na ma-preserve yung mga corporations like yung Empire 999, yung mga ganon, siyam yan. Na ngayon po, nag-issue na si Secretary Lucas Bersamin. And we are so happy that all the evidences that we have gathered have been submitted to them for their perusal. At nagkaroon po tayo ng positive reaction. Maraming salamat po.
Sir, dun sa issue ng criminal cases, gagawin niyo rin yun? Magta-turn over din kayo ng documents?
Oh yes, pag hiniling po ng DOJ that we can turn over the documents, we will do it. Anyway, sinabi ko na rin naman na DOJ is always watching the Quadcom. At talagang public naman lahat ng mga dokumentong ito. So, they could be able to get that. Dahil kami naman, we cannot even prosecute So, talagang in aid of legislation lamang kami. So, commentatory lang kami. Para sabihin namin sa DOJ, ito lahat ng mga documents, kayo na bahala rito. What are you gonna do about this?
Isang maganda nangyari doon, nagkaroon ng para siyang liaison officer dito. And lahat ng ginagawa namin directly, immediately are being taken action. Kaya lahat na expedite.
Ito talaga ang katotohanan. Ito, para sa malaman po ng taong bayan. Willful killings to affected thousands of civilians. Nasabi nga po ng ICC, ang estimate ng napatay from 12,000 to 30,000 deaths between July 2016 and March 2019 alone. Sabihin na natin na maraming napatay ng mga drug pushers. Sabihin na natin, sabi ko kanina, ilan ba napatay na drug lords? Ilan ba napatay na drug lords? Okay. Si Kerwin Espinosa, na sinasabi po ng PIDEA na drug lord, nakakawala pa ngayon eh. Oo, okay, nakakapagtaka. Yung former administration, lahat na dismiss ang kaso eh, ni Kevin Espinosa eh. Ang tanong ko, bakit? Sinabi ng PIDEA hanggang ngayon, nasa drug list pa ang pangalan ni Kerwin bilang drug lord. Ba't ba siya nakakawala? Eh kung talagang drug lord siya, hulihin na siya. Oh, bakit andun siya nakakawala? Oh, napatay ba? Hindi. Sinong napapatay? Yung mga mahihirap na mga tao na ang sabi po ng iba, kaya kami naging drug pusher, pulis din ang nagbibigay ng drugs sa amin. Oh, nakausap ko ang isang tao. Ang sabi niya sa akin, ganito ha, oo, karamihan po daw ng mga drug pushers, pulis ang nagbibigay ng drugs. Ano pong ibig sabihin nun? Diba? Na alam natin na sinabi ng ating Pangulo na ako na lang, akong responsable. Huwag niyong pagbintangan ng mga kapulisan ko. Eh, ba't niya minumura yung mga pulis? Ba't niya minumura yung mga pulis? Ba't pinabayaan niya? Sino ba nag-utos na patayin? Shoot them dead. Sino ba nagsabi nun? Siyempre na-embolden ang mga kapulisan natin. O yun naman pala ang sabi ng leader natin, commander-in-chief pa natin yan, titirahin na natin to. May reward pa. So ang tinatanong ko, ano ang pagkakaiba ng drug pusher na yun lang ang kanyang trabaho? Mahirap na tao ito, na kumikita sa drugs para makakain sila. Anong pagkakaiba niyan sa pulis na pumapatay din ng drug pusher upang magkaroon ng pera? Anong pagkakaiba? Walang pagkakaiba eh.